What up, YouTube? Welcome to my channel. I'm Anthony TV. Look, before we get into today's video, I need you guys to do me a favor. Hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment if you got some comments. So look, the question of the day is food service better than beverage? Is working for a food service company easier than beverage, like Pepsi, Coca-Cola, or even some of the beer companies out there? What's the easier job? Not only that, which job pays more money? From my experience working for a beer company prior to coming to food service, it's hands down, by a landslide, food service is the easier job, and food service makes more money. That's coming from experience in the area that I live in. Now, I had a subscriber throw out some numbers a couple days ago. I think they was out of Texas, and I believe he said the beverage companies over there, like Pepsi, I think it was Pepsi or Coke, one of the two, he said they made like between 70 and 80K a year, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I can tell you they don't make anywhere near that in Florida where I'm at, not Pepsi or Coke. Like, they don't make nowhere near that amount of money. The beer company I work for, I think they was making like what I made starting out. It was like 45K. I took like a $15,000 a year pay cut to go to that job just to really get it, just to get the experience, so I can get into food service. So I already had a plan in mind to like stay there for, 6 months to a year, just to get the driving experience, because I did want to stay local. So that was the route I took, which I talked about this in previous videos. So that was the route I took. I sacrificed making less money to get the experience, but it all worked out for me because I make more money now, and it's just overall better situation, a better job that I came into coming over here to go in food service. But in my opinion, like I said, food service is definitely better than beverage. It's less work in my opinion. Now, don't get me wrong, we work hard in food service, don't get me wrong, but beverage, delivering that beer and that alcohol, bottles, it was heavy carts that we had to push into C-stores. C-stores are convenience stores, for those that don't know. So having to push those heavy carts, and not only push them in the stores, but also merchandising. So we had to push them into the stores. You got to get it counted in by the receiver if you deliver into, a grocery store or something like that, or the clerk who's ever at the store. So we'll have like long invoices, like super long invoices that you got to count in item by item before you're able to put the product up, right? They got to verify it. So you had to do that first, and then after that you had to put it all up on the shelves or in the cooler or whatever the case may be. So it was just a harder job, and they didn't pay any money. I felt like you was definitely overworked and underpaid with that job, and some people say that about the food service industry. But in my opinion, from my own experience, beverage was way harder. It actually was the hardest job I ever had. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was way harder than food service to me, you know what I mean? So I personally think that if you in the beverage game, if you delivering, you working for Coke, Pepsi. Speaking of Pepsi, so we got a new hire that you guys probably saw in some previous videos. We actually have an employee that worked for Pepsi prior to coming to GFS. And he said that working for GFS is a lot easier than working for Pepsi. So he said it's easier. He's making more money now, and I agree with him. I feel like food service is definitely easier, and you make way more money. I mean, I make more money now in a week than I made for 2 weeks doing the beer delivery. So I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments if you have experience doing both, you know, working in the beverage industry, you know, whether you work for Pepsi, Coke, delivering beer or whatever. What do you think if you in food service now? Like, if you work for both companies, you know, you got experience doing both, what do you think is better? What's the pay like? Obviously location matters, right? So like I said, in my location, 40 to 45 was like starting pay in beverage. And I actually had an interview with Coca-Cola before I went to the beer company, and I asked the recruiter who called me before I had the interview, I asked her, you know, how much they made, and it was less than the beer company. And they get paid like the Coca-Cola, they got paid like Chinese overtime and all that. And I'm like, nah, man. So I didn't even go to Coke. I ended up going with the beer instead of going with Coke when she told me that. But yeah, let me know in the comments, guys, which one you think is easier, food service or beverage, if you've done both. I want to hear y'all opinions. And again, I feel like you make way more money in the food service game than the beverage. That's my experience. And, you know, I've heard other people say the same thing that was at beverage and now over to food service. So let me know. But I do think if you're somebody that want to stay local and you may not have any experience, you could take the route I took and work for a beverage company. If you can't get on with a food service company right away, like out of trucking school or, you know, a new CDL driver, you could take that route I took and just, you know, work for a beverage company for a short period of time and then come over to food service, you know, just to get that experience under your belt and then come over to food service. Guarantee you, you know, we can always have a spot for you. One thing in common with all food service companies, and if you've been watching any of my pull-up videos on Wednesdays, I ask them, are they hiring? And I asked that question for a couple of reasons. Number one, just to break the ice, but also to show you that food service companies, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna be hiring, right? It's pretty much a high turnover rate in the food service game. It's not for everybody, right? The pay is good, but it's not for everybody. So that's one thing in common that all food service companies have. They typically will be hiring a lot. So let me know in the comments what y'all think. Which one is better? Who pays more? And I also want to add that if you are in beverage, I really think the transition coming into food service is a lot easier as well. I think if you coming from beverage and you come over to food service, once you come over to food service, I really think that you'll, you know, think that it's a lot easier than beverage. You don't have to worry about merchandising, putting up all this product. You may have some one-offs in food service where you have to put some stuff up, but it's not like every account you have to do that with. But yeah, that's all I want to talk about today, guys. Let me know in the comments. Appreciate y'all for watching. Again, like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. You already know I appreciate your support, and I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.